as of lately, I've been trying to push out some content where I look for cheap options off the waiver wire that you can add to your fantasy teams to help you out, to patch up some positions. Some of these players might blow up, some of them might not, but it allows you the opportunity to take a chance on a guy that could turn the corner for your team. When I'm looking for these players, I'm just looking for usage trends. I'm looking for snap share. I'm looking for targets, target share. I'm just looking for trends that could be a sign for an uptick in production. One guy that is just blinking in the distance, signing off like he is potentially could go off or have some sort of value. I don't know, but it looks like from a usage standpoint, something's going to happen with him. That's Van Jefferson for the Rams. Currently this year is a 75% snap share, 22% of the air yards, a 15% target share, and a 13.5 average depth of target. So not elite level usage, but enough to where he can pop off in some games considering how high volume the Rams offense is. And in his last 2 games, things have increased a little bit. He's had 13 targets, 7 catches, 150 yards, and a touchdown. He's been targeted on 20% of his routes, and in those games, he's ran 65 routes. So it's not like he was on the field just a little bit and then earned some targets, and that boosted that percentage. He was on the field quite a bit and was getting targeted. On the year, he has 392 yards, 3 touchdowns, so not too bad. The big thing that's going to probably give him a spike, that gives him a potential to go off and probably in some games in the right matchups, is Deshaun Jackson's gone. He was cut. So that's more snaps, more opportunities that could go to Jefferson, that could allow him to make an impact. So how I value him is a guy off the waiver wire that you can pick up as a speculative ad to throw in your lineups if you need be, or a guy you can stash on your bench. Would I stash him over Rashad Bateman? No. Rashad Bateman's a different type of talent that you want to bank on. But if I don't have Rashad Bateman, I have a roster spot open, I need to shake some stuff up on my team anyway. Say I'm middle of the road in the standings and my back end of my bench isn't that great, I may want to look up Jefferson. I may want to look up Bateman. I may want to throw them in those lineups here and there just to shake things up. Because right now, we're getting down to the home stretch, and you're going to have to do something with your teams if you're middle of the road of the standings, bottom half, because that's just how it is. You just can't keep throwing out that same lineup and keep taking L's. You're just going to have to switch some stuff up. Dynasty, for the long-term perspective for Van Jefferson, this team doesn't have any draft picks. Who are they going to draft over him? They're not going to pick first-round wide receivers, second-round wide receivers, because they can't. And if somehow they get the picks, somehow, some way, I don't know, but if they do come across capital, they're not going to take a wide receiver. He's safe for a bit. I get it. Cooper Kupp's there. Bobby Woods is there. But this is offense that's moving, and this could be targets down the line sometime, some way, somehow, in a couple years. And that's something you may want to invest in, and I imagine it's going to be cheap. I imagine it's going to be a cheap speculative ad. I bet his price tag went up just a hair once Deshaun Jackson left, but he was going to leave eventually anyways. He's not there long term. But the thing that I'm interested in is they made that trade for Von Miller. They are not interested in keeping draft picks. So you know they're not going to be drafting wide receivers. They may pick somebody up off waivers. I mean, somehow, some way, they could make a play for Odell Beckham. I do not see him. They got to clear cap space. But maybe somebody off the free agency in the future, maybe next offseason after that. Maybe that could happen. It's a possibility. I don't want to get your hopes up saying that they're not going to bring in anybody at any time. But the thing is that this situation is looking clear long-term for Jefferson because they don't have the capital to bring in more wide receivers. So from default, he's going to get his opportunity. And if he cashes in this back half of the season, they do not have the ammunition to get a wide receiver. And then also he's giving them the clarity to not need to because he's playing well. So right now, he's starting to get more opportunity, more run in the offense. If he starts producing, he starts hitting, he could develop into a long-term asset. For regular basic redraft, he's just a guy you want to speculate on, maybe get on the back end of your rosters to see what happens. You may want to use him as a spackle job for your lineups anyways. Some of you guys are hurting. bye weeks, injuries, it happens. You got to fill those spots. That's a guy you want to look at because he's going to get targets. He's going to be running routes, and that could happen to where he has a few good games. I mean, all he has to do is fall in the end zone once, twice in a game, and you're good. And that is very possible with him being in this Rams offense because they can move the ball downfield. They're getting opportunities that most teams don't get, and Matt Stafford's decent at spreading the rock. Van Jefferson's a cheap get in all formats, and there's a little bit of upside there. I don't consider him a premium prospect. I don't consider him a high-end athlete, a high-end guy to have on Dynasty or redraft, but I notice him as an asset that can pop off at times and that is relatively cheap, and that's what I'm interested in. Is he going to hit? I don't know, but for context here, we're looking at a guy who's cheap that is getting some volume, some usage, and some people need that for their fantasy teams. If you're undefeated, your roster's stacked, you don't even need to listen to me. You don't even need to know. But I guarantee you probably have another team that you may need to open up a roster spot for this dude for. You may want to dance with him, see what happens. Put him on your roster, see if he does something this week, next week, see if something goes on with Van Jefferson. But the thing is, he's getting the workload, he's getting the volume, he's getting the targets, and that could transition into production. And if we have him already on our lineups before everyone else starts to trend toward him, then we're in the money. And we don't have to fight for him. We don't have to use our free agent bidding dollars or anything else. And we got him for free. I want to thank you for watching the show, sticking with me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Every subscription matters. It fuels me to keep putting out this content. We're on the quest for 1,000 subs by the end of the season. We're moving right along for that. I would love for you guys to be a part of us hitting that mark. And again, I want to thank you. And I'll catch you next time.